This is Johnny with JKW Political Consulting on Swirl Radio. Omar Khalif, he was on their show earlier. He's a parent, he's a public school advocate, and he recently just got his child just got her assignment to the schools, to the public school system. So we have him on the show. He's not too happy. Omar, thanks for coming back on.
Hey, you're welcome. Thanks for having me back.
So your daughter just got her assignment system.
Yeah.
Where is she going?
She got accepted into, she was assigned to, not accepted, she was assigned to Abraham Lincoln.
That's in where? That's far. That's in the Sunset, right?
That's in the Sunset.
And where do you live?
I live in the Bayview.
Okay, that's a pretty long
About
track.
a mile away from Candlestick's front door.
All right, is that a school that you chose?
Not necessarily that I chose. I think what happened is my wife may have just randomly threw some names on a piece of paper the day that it was due, but it was not a school that we had ever even discussed or talked about. And for that matter, no school that I've ever had my children in were schools that we discussed or talked about. We were always assigned to those schools.
So this is kind of an arbitrary assignment based on the new school system. San Francisco Unified School District came out with a new assignment system this last week, and this is based on a new assignment system.
Right, yeah, based on me living in C-Tip 1. So I get to...
This is track 1. Nobody has any idea what that means, right?
I get to play with the people, and my daughter gets to play with the people in C-Tip 2.
All right, and that means a 45-minute bus ride all the way over the hill to the other side of the city.
The other side of the city, yeah.
And do you want your child? I assume you want your child near you, right?
I would much rather have my child go to the schools right there in my neighborhood. And the closest neighborhood schools I have right now are Thurgood Marshall, Balboa, and Philip and Solomon Burton. So.
And this is something that's common in San Francisco, right? I mean, they call it a choice system. You get to choose, but you don't get your choice. That means it's not a choice system.
Right, it's not a choice system. Someone said it's not a choice, it's a chance.
It's a chance system.
It's a chance system.
We all went to school. I went to public school, and I walked to my school.
Right.
My school was where I lived. I knew the people in my community. My parents got involved in my school because it was right down the street. Everybody got involved in the school. This was my school in my area.
Right.
And I can't imagine it being any different. So in San Francisco, I don't think most San Franciscans know this. In San Francisco, it's not a neighborhood-based school system.
Right. No, it's not at all. In fact, I think it's one of the tools they're using to disenfranchise communities, whole communities, because if we all come together as communities and advocating for our neighborhood schools, I think we can be able to build communities throughout
the community,
the city
and county of San Francisco. To raise a child.
Right. It takes everybody.
To build a good school.
Right.
So why are we not in a neighborhood school system? I mean, is there who's fighting against the neighborhood school system?
I'm not necessarily sure who's fighting against it. The school district's fighting against it.
Okay.
San Francisco Board of Education, they're the ones who's fighting against it. Because, again, if you have this many people in your system who's requesting one thing and they continue to get something different, then the people who are responsible for delivering that are fighting against the system. So I think we need to get it back to a parent-based system.
This is Johnny with JKW Political Consulting. We're back with Omar Khalif, a parent and a public school advocate, talk about our school system. So right now, children in San Francisco is being bused all the way across town. There's no way you can build a community in that sense. And I think a lot of the schools are failing. It's just being covered up by different students being moved all over the place. But that's the case, correct?
That's the case. That's the case in a nutshell.
So, I mean, you were talking about Washington Carver. What's going on there?
Well, George Washington Carver right now under the Obama administration, or not even Obama, it's probably Sacramento, saying, well, a failing school is a school who's been, chronically failing. If the principal's been there more than 2 years, then you can remove the principal and half of the teachers, or you can convert it into a charter school. So what they've decided to do, and I believe half of the schools that are failing are ran by people of color, and particularly women. And so what they've decided to do is fire the principal and half the staff and bring in someone new, but they disregarded the fact that the principal right now is a substitute in her third grade class because she doesn't have a third grade teacher. So this is what's going on.
Shortage.
So
and Washington Carver, George was a good school.
It was a great school.
What happened?
Well, they stripped all the resources from them. They were a star school, and then they lost their resource teacher, the Spanish teacher, the computer lab teacher.
How do you lose that?
Well, they lost it because their test scores were high, and so they were.
What do you mean? Your test score is high, and they take your resources away.
They were testing really, really high, and the word was, well, your students are scoring really high, so therefore you don't need these resources. And that's kind of what happened. And even when they were supposed to get some of that Dream School money, they never got any of those.
So where's Washington?
George Washington Carver in the heart of Bayview.
In the heart of Bayview School.
It's the heart of everything in Bayview. George Washington Carver has reached every single family in that community.
And it was a star school. They stripped the resources because it was doing too well to give to the lesser performing schools. And now it's failed because the resources are gone.
Right, the resources are depleted.
Okay, so what is the problem here? This is not right. What is the problem here? What do we need to do? I mean, this is ridiculous.
We need to reform the system. I think parents need to get together. I think we all need to come together right now and fight, and really fight for our schools, and sign petitions or do whatever. Just come together and show a strength, and show the strength in numbers to the board, because again, they are running for politics. So let's not make it political. So I think that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to really have to fight. And this is a good time. Because at least we have the president talking about it, the governor, and a whole bunch of senators talking about it. So I think this is a good time to really rebuild the system.
Education is our future.
Yeah, that's our future.
All right. Well, hey, thank you for being on the show. We're definitely going to have you back on, and I want you to tell us what we can do to fight for our schools, because I don't have kids. I plan to, and I plan to raise them in San Francisco in our public schools, because I don't want to spend $30,000 on a private school.
No. Yeah. If your kid doesn't know yellow before they go to school, $30,000 is not going to help them.
I know. Hey, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
This is Johnny with JKW Political Consulting on 4 Radio.
Yeah.